Hello. So I recorded this just now, but it didn't seem to come through to the platform. So I'm doing it again now for you. So good morning. I hope you're well. Today I'm talking about sleep, because sleep is the greatest well-being thing we can ever have. Never mind all the other stuff, which is really important. Sleep is the fundamental need we all have, which is why it can be used as torture by keeping prisoners or whatever awake, because that is such a painful thing to do. So as a leader and leading teams, sleep is so important. Yes, I know we know all that. However, how come it's when we need it most, often our brain keeps ticking along and stops us sleeping, or we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? I've just had a really, really busy time with my book launch, and I have been waking up, and I put in lots of strategies which now have sorted that out. So I thought it could be useful to share with you. So the first thing, I know what it's like if we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. In fact, I used to wake up knowing I didn't even have to look at the clock, because I knew it would be about 3 o'clock. The first tip is to stay in bed and not look at the clock. So what I used to do, I used to get up, go downstairs, have a glass of milk, and then I would read something and go back to sleep. However, I've learned so much recently that actually, in order to sleep effectively, we need to keep our heart rate under 60 beats a minute. So consequently, when we get up, our heart rate, by definition, because we're moving, is going to go higher. So if you possibly can, and sometimes you want to go up to the loo, again, if you possibly can avoid that, obviously, if you need to, you need to. But if you can avoid it, sometimes I've often thought I needed to go, and actually I didn't really need to go. So it's staying in bed and calming your breathing down, because then you can start focusing on sleep. Because generally, if we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's because we've got loads of stuff going on in our heads. And I always keep a little pad by my bed with a pencil. And so even if I wake up and think about something, if I needed to remember it, I just jot it down on a piece of paper by my bed, and therefore I go back to sleep, because it's like dumped out of my brain. So that's another tip. But the most important thing is, if you wake up, is just to concentrate on your breathing. So how we do that is, number one, focus on, if you can, 4, 7, 8 breathing. So it's breathing in for 4, hold it for 5, and breathe out for 8. Because when we breathe out longer than we breathe in, then we get rid of the cortisol, the stress hormone, the fear, fight, and flight process. And then we create that sense of calm again. Now, to start with, you might not be able to do 4, 7, 8. You might need to do 4, 4, 4, whatever works for you. But it gives you time to concentrate on your breathing. And by definition, that will help you feel calmer. Then also, what you can do when you're lying in bed is tighten and loosen all your muscles, because just like if we do that and go like that, it just releases any tension. So it's up to you how you start, whether you start from the top of your head and work down, or you work from your feet up. It's just concentrating on tightening every single muscle in your body bit by bit, and then just let it go. So concentrate on squiggling your toes and then letting them go. Your calves, squiggling them to go, etc. Your stomach, whatever it is. Work your way through your body, and then it's amazing, because then that gives you that sense of relaxation. And then the third thing you can do is, if your mind is racing, is start counting backwards. I work from 100, depending on how long you want to do it for, but work from 100 and go count backwards. So like 100, 99, 98, because the great thing about that, we have to concentrate a little bit in order to go backwards. And as a result of that, we takes away all that anxiety and all those things that are going through our brain, because we can only focus on the numbers. And that really, really works. Now, obviously, if it doesn't work, that's where you might need to just walk around for a bit and read something calming, or listen to a podcast, or whatever it is. But I think that is the most important thing that I found really helps me if I wake up at 3. And once you know that works, ironically, you don't wake up, because you know you've got a strategy if you do wake up, because you're more relaxed. And also, before you go to sleep, that's the crucial thing, getting your sleep routine before you go to sleep, turning your phone off an hour before bed, having a nice routine the hour before, whether it's a shower, whether it's reading a book, whatever it is, but off a screen, because the screen mucks up our melatonin and makes us think we're awake. And if you can possibly get up the same day every day, that's also amazing, because that is like jet lag. If we sort of get up at 5:30 in the week and then 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at the weekend, we're creating that jet lag. So our melatonin gets mucked up and doesn't, which helps us sleep, and therefore comes out much later in the night when actually we want to go to sleep. So that's my tips for the day. Hope you're well. Have a good weekend and take care. Bye.